get an education almost like free of cost. So my first year of college, I went to Aurora University. And the reason that I did go to Aurora University is because I got a full ride to that school, and I got direct admission into the nursing program. So I decided, okay, this is a good opportunity for me. And at that time, I really wanted to stay close to home for like personal family reasons. I think I disclosed this last year, but my senior year of high school, I had a very big family tragic event that happened where my mother was diagnosed with cancer. My senior year of high school went from me trying to get into looking for schools to kind of like far away from home, because everyone wants to be like, oh, let's go far away from home. Upward Bound really helped me with that, supported me with that, helped me go through with everything that I wanted to do. And they helped me successfully obtain that full scholarship to Aurora University with stipends. So every semester I would get a stipend check to my bank account, which was great, you know? Everyone wants to go and have an education for free. I went through my first year at Aurora University. I wasn't very focused, I would say, in school. It was really hard for me, especially my first semester, kind of transitioning from that high school very rigid structure to college where you do everything yourself. You create your own classes, you don't go to school all day, you don't go to school every day, 5 days a week. You go to school maybe 3-4 times out of the week, and you only go for a couple of hours. But the thing is with that is that with let's say a class hour is like an hour, right? You should spend 3 hours outside of that class studying, getting ready, preparing yourself for that next class. So in a lot of ways, it's a lot more work. I myself not very much liking where my education was going at that point, because I wasn't very focused. I didn't really want to keep going to school. It felt more like a job to me than something that I wanted to do to benefit myself, you know? I was feeling very unmotivated. I didn't want to keep going, in a sense, with my education. So that's where I guess Upward Bound still kept in, because they kept keeping tabs on me. I felt very welcome. I would come back and see Chassie all the time. Some of you guys know Chassie, I still think so, yeah. So I'd come back, I'd see Chassie. Literally, I would call her and I just would say, oh, hey Chassie. She'd be like, Melissa, what are you doing? Like she already knew it was me. I called her constantly, and she was always there for me. She was kind of like my second mom in a sense. She did anything in college. If I did anything, I text her, I sent her a picture, and she'd just be over the moon, happy for me. And it was one of the biggest support systems that I have in my life to this day. So since I saw myself kind of slipping from my education, I never was like that. I was always very gung-ho about studying and all that. I decided that maybe it was time for me to transfer. So I started that process, and I will say, for those of you who don't really think that, you think that after high school you have to go to the college you want to go to, that's not necessarily the case. You can go to any college, community college, a college nearby, and still have the opportunity to transfer later on if that's what you want to do, because that's what I did. I transferred, and now I go to Knox College. And at Knox College, this was my first year, my sophomore year, I really opened up my wings there. I really went straight into my education, and I loved every minute of it. Being a transfer kid isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do, but it's very doable. Even if you go to school that gives you a full ride or close to a full ride, you still have to worry about how you're going to pay for books, how you're going to pay for outside expenses, like if you have a car payment, if you have anything extra that is going on with your life, you're kind of trying to see how you're going to have those expenses. I worked at a restaurant while I was studying full time, and that really helped me. And going into Knox, I was part of a lot of activities, a lot of clubs. I applied for jobs on campus, and recently I applied for a resident assistant at my school, which would mean for me free room and board, which is a great help, because that's the only thing I'm actually paying for at school. I am able to fully focus and create a community at my school, which I'm very excited for. So at school right now, I am double majoring in biology and Spanish. At Knox, they have partnership programs with other universities. They have one with George Washington University for pre-med, and they have one with Rush University.
The computer science program at my school was really tough. Like the TAs there, like they're not allowed to give you the answer to your questions. They're only able to guide you to the answer, which is just so dumb. On top of that, the professor for the intro CS class, his name is Andy Van Dam. He is, you know, like Andy from Toy Story was named after him because he's one of the founders of Pixar. And so he like expected everyone to already know everything that he knew, which is not a thing. And so that was really rough. And so I was really stressed because I'm like really, I guess, stubborn. I didn't want to drop the class because I really liked it, but I was taking like a stupid amount of time to finish these projects. And so I was literally failing all of my 3 other classes. And I was like, okay, do I pass one class and fail 3 or drop this and like potentially pass the 3? So after like crying about this, I also talked to Chassie. I was like, what do I do? She's like, drop it. And I'm like, I don't wanna. And so I ended up dropping it and it was okay. And so then I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do CS because even though I really like it, it's way too much work and I just don't wanna deal with that. And then at that time, I was also like not really liking engineering as much because it was very different than I had expected. I really like building things and making things rather than like doing the math and physics behind like, oh, if I do it this way, it's gonna collapse. That was just boring. And so I was like, okay, now what do I do? And so I ended up like barely passing those 3 classes. Brown only has A, B, C, and fail. And so I got 3 C's. And so I had literally the lowest GPA you could possibly have my first semester, and I was like, what the heck? And so I was really struggling, also because, like I said, I had never studied in high school, so I didn't know how to study. And because I thought like, oh yeah, high school is easy, this will be easy too, and it just wasn't. I was like, okay, I need to learn how to study, which was like one of the biggest things that was like, it was just rough, like teaching yourself how to study after you haven't had to study for like the first 12 years of school. And so I was like, okay, so that was rough. And then I was also trying to figure out what else I was going to start studying instead. And so I knew I always liked psychology kind of, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. And then I learned about neuroscience, which is basically a more bio kind of psych. And so it's literally just like brain science. It's really freaking cool. And so I took the intro class for that the next semester, along with some chemistry classes and a couple other like pre-med classes, because I had wanted to be a doctor before when I was younger, and then I got queasy with blood, and I was like, I can't be a doctor, so then I gave that up. But then I was like, you know what, maybe I can do it. So I tried it again, and so I applied for this like pre-med internship for the summer after my freshman year of college. And so I ended up getting it. So now I am studying for the MCAT, which is like the entry exam for medical school, which I have next week. And I started studying for that last year. So like it's been a year of me studying. And so I have that next week. And I'm also currently applying to medical schools because it takes a year. So it takes a year to study for the MCAT and then another year to apply to medical school. So hopefully I'll get in and be starting fall of 2020.